Hi, this is Dr. Joannides, Chief Medical Director at Optimum Re. This is the Optimum Academy. This series is on Insurance Lab Trending 101, and this is video number 2, Lab Value and Paramed Exam Trends. So let's get started. So lab trending can provide exploratory and predictive analytics to optimize our business actions. So the exploratory analytics can help us understand our data, and the predictive analytics can help us anticipate outcomes. So companies that are still doing fluid testing and using a Paramed exam in life insurance underwriting, the rationale for the requirements are to precisely assess and stratify mortality risk based on a series of blood and urine chemistry tests and paramedical exam findings in applicants 18 years old and older. Fluid testing results finding from the Paramed exams have proven to be very valuable tools in risk selection and in helping to maintain excellent actual to expected mortality results. Optimum Re in Exam 1 started a unique project to review lab and Exam 1 results. To determine if any new trends are present, we use US and Canadian lab sample data and exam variables, and we review them on a quarterly basis, and monthly mean data using thousands and thousands of applicants who have their blood drawn and sent to Exam 1 or have a Paramed exam. We can use that data as well. And trends that are noted will be highlighted to determine if they can provide any useful predictive insights that can affect life underwriting. So lab trending can highlight both subtle changes in the applicant pool, possibly prospecting in higher or lower risk groups or deeper penetration into new groups, or lab result variation due to Exam 1 technical lab analysis changes like analytical or standardization changes, or perhaps less than ideal paramedical specimen collection or pre-analytic delays. So these are some of the lab variables that we can look at to determine if there's any trends that are useful in helping us. And it includes things like A1C, BMI, cholesterol HDL ratio, hepatitis B and C levels, HDL, NT-proBNP, serum creatinine, total cholesterol, urine cotinine, or urine microalbumin. So many different lab values can be looked at. And at the bottom, you'll note that we can slice it by all together and determine a mean for thousands and thousands of applicants. We can split it by gender, policy size, age range, and even states. So we can compare different values in a lot of ways, depending on which variables we choose to look at. So for instance, here's the percentage of cotinine positive applicants differing by state. And you can see that the blue line is West Virginia, which has a distinctly higher level of cotinine positive tests than applicants from the state of California, which is the red line at the bottom. So this is valuable to help us understand the higher cotinine risk in applicants from West Virginia. We could look at mean BMI. So BMI can vary by state. This information may be useful for final expense companies. The mean BMI in Alabama exceeds the mean BMI in Arizona. So let's take a look at that. So you can see that the blue line is the BMI in Alabama, and the red line is the BMI in Arizona. And Alabama has a distinctly higher mean BMI than the state of Arizona. And these are just two different time frames. Let's look at hepatitis B, surface antigen positive applicants. So if hepatitis B positive testing is used via a reflex method, we can pick up applicants that are positive for hepatitis B surface antigen positivity. And we know from our looking at our lab data that hepatitis B rates are higher in Canada than they are in the United States. Quebec has higher hit rates than New York State just across the border, and Ontario has higher hit rates than Michigan just across the border. So Optimum has worked in concert with ExamOne to produce a white paper which extols the benefits of an impressive regression formula that ExamOne has available to better identify hepatitis B positive applicants. And this is the summary from that white paper that was put out in February of 2024. So you can request or find the hepatitis B white paper on our Knowledge Center on the Optimum Re website, and it may be helpful to you to better predict and utilize reflex testing to pick up hepatitis B positive applicants in your testing pool. Here's an example of different rates comparing Quebec and New York State. You can see that Quebec in blue has a much higher rate of hepatitis B positive tests than New York, which is in red. And here is Michigan versus Ontario. Ontario is in red and has a higher rate than Michigan, which is in blue. So looking at mean HDL levels, we can find that females have a significantly higher mean HDL level than men. And the higher HDL level in females is due to the estrogen effect. So HDL is the high-density lipoprotein, which is protective in the body and removes cholesterol from the tissues and arteries and returns it to the liver for removal. So that's a picture of high-density lipoprotein, which is a lipid ball wrapped by ApoA or apolipoprotein big A, as shown at the bottom there. So females have a significantly greater HDL than men, and on the left, now you have to look at the numbers to the far left to determine that females have a significantly higher level. This is on mean over thousands and thousands of people. The mean is significantly higher in females than it is in the numerical representation of the graph on the right for men. So females can be in the 60s in terms of their HDL level, whereas men are in their values are in the 50s on the mean basis. In females, total cholesterol to HDL ratio is significantly lower than men. This again demonstrates the effect of the higher HDL. So females run a ratio approximately of 3, whereas men have a ratio approximately of 3.5. And glycolysis is the result of pre-analytic events which lower the glucose in the sample and may alter the results of the other blood tests as well. So there is a typical seasonal variation in glycolysis levels with higher rate of glycolysis in the warmer months. However, British Columbia had a spike in the glycolysis rate compared to hot Arizona, which you would think would be unusual since British Columbia has cooler temperatures. So it was determined that the applicants that were had their blood collected in British Columbia by the paramedical people, they were not used to the change in climate that has been noted lately. So ExamOne had to make changes to the paramedical process to rectify the increase in glycolysis in certain geographic areas that were not used to warmer temperatures in climate change. Whereas the parameds in Arizona are well aware of the heat can affect the blood samples, so they take more measures to ensure that the blood samples are cooled before they are centrifuged. So it shows you that pre-analytic changes can occur affecting lab samples. So this lab trending report helps us understand those things as well. And you can see that glycolysis is seasonal in variation and shows a nadir in the winter months when samples that are collected are going to remain cooler than they are in the summer months when they're more likely to be exposed to heat. And here's the difference in rates of glycolysis in Arizona at the bottom in red versus actually it's Ontario, not British Columbia, which is shown in blue. So this quarterly review can highlight trends in lab testing and paramedical exam results that otherwise may not be apparent, and this information may be useful to life companies' underwriting research and actuarial departments. So that completes our lab trending videos in the Optimum Academy. So that completes video number 2. Stay tuned for video number 3 to continue our series on PEth, a new alcohol marker.